Welcome to this very special edition of the KAJ Masterclass Live, the show which ensures that you profit from your time spent here with experts, either through the industry insights, information, or simply learning from them. And today we have Fabiola Baughman. She is a shamanic practitioner, award-winning documentary filmmaker, and she helps guides individuals on spiritual journeys to heal personal wounds and uncover their life purposes. Welcome to the show, Fabiola.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
You are welcome. Welcome to the show. Welcome to India in this online form. And I'm sure not just in India, but a lot of people across the globe will
Yeah.
benefit from what we are going to talk right now. We will be talking about spiritual healing and ancestral wisdom. We'll learn all about that. But before we come to this, let's understand a bit about your journey, your background, so that people learn a bit more about who they are listening to.
Yes, I'm originally from Lima, Peru, and I immigrated to the United States back in 1994. I have a background in science. I have a master's degree in biology, but I shift my focus due to life circumstances from science to spirituality. And at the time, I was a very logical person. I was just using that male side of my brain, that the left brain, very logical. Only what you can prove is what exists until I had to stay home with my children for different reasons, health issues, my husband traveling quite a bit. And I decided to just focus on them. But then I started realizing that I needed something. I needed a change in my life. And I started learning about meditation. You guys are probably very familiar with that. Not so common here. And I started learning about meditation, spirituality. And I started seeing things. I became a clairvoyant, a trained clairvoyant. And then somebody invited me back to my land, but with different eyes. Now I was able to see energy. And that's when I first connected with the spirits of the mountains. My first impression that I had in the mountains was with Inca Pachacutec, who was one of the big rulers of the Inca Empire. And he talked to me about the condition of the land. He talked to me about how unhappy he was with the pollution of the rivers, with the way we were treating Pachamama, Mother Earth. He was very upset with the politicians and the corruption in the country. And he really wanted us to change our ways. So at the time, I felt very powerless, and I took it as a call to action that I really couldn't fulfill. So I told him, "Who am I? I'm nobody to help you with this job." But he told me to be a catalyst for change, to become that catalyst for change. And with my background in science and having taken many chemistry classes and taught chemistry, I realized that I didn't have to be very big to be a big change, that I could be just as small as a little molecule that can cause a big reaction. And that stayed with me for a long time. Fast forward a few years, I returned to Peru. I received shamanic rites, which created a stronger connection with the mountains. Now the lineages of my country were coming to assist me in my practice, in my healing practice. And they invited me back in 2020 to film a documentary. They said, "Why don't you do this?" And it was basically an initiation. They hit me really hard on the side of my head, boom, like lightning. And my whole body was shaking. And they told me, "Why don't you film this? You have been filming anyway. You have a lot of material." And I was just very surprised. So I communicated with my husband, and he was, excited about this. So we started this journey. I had no background on filmmaking, but somehow we put a team together and we went on the journey of our lives. And it really changed me because it was a true healing journey. And we didn't know who we were going to encounter. I had an idea of how it was going to happen, but it really was opening like a flower as we went along the journey. And the lessons that I brought from the Andes were incredible and very transformational. So I can share more about those later on.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, how are you using all that? The spirit of the mountains live. Why is it that we have forgotten about it, and how this forgetting has led to so much of discord in our society? And how will you? Are you a much more of a spiritual person, or are you an activist? How would you like to tell people about yourself?
You know, that's a hard question for me to answer, but I tell you, I'm just a messenger. I'm the messenger, and I'm helping people find their true purpose. To answer your previous question, why did this happen? Because we lost that connection with nature, and we lost that knowing that everything is alive, that everything communicates with us, that the animals, the plants, they have a presence and a message to us. And by coming to the cities, we lose that connection, especially here in the Western world, right? We are so busy with our computers and our, lifestyle of go, 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 always producing, always pushing forward, very male oriented energy. And we forget that we need to have that balance of the male and the female energy. We have to have nature working together with us. And honestly, when I went there, I was just like very unbalanced. I was very much leading with my male energy, and everything I did, I was, get this done, solve the problems, until I realized I needed to go on a journey, leave my family behind, for, a couple of weeks, and really understand what these mountains wanted to share with me, because they were coming in my dreams. They told me once I received the initiation rites, hey, they said, you got the theory, but you really don't know what this means. So you have to come here and interact with us and understand what this means. And that's when I started getting all these messages, and really, it was so powerful, to really be able to touch the rocks and feel their energy and feel their message, and have all of a sudden I have this wonderful family of living mountains, that were supporting me on my work. And I continue to be trained as a shaman, and now I have a very active practice in which I see clients and I help them, kind of realign with their life purpose and see what's not working in their life, and go back to that balance of nature.
Right. So, does everyone have it in them to reconnect with their spiritual essence, or is it some people who will not be able to do it? Are there any prerequisites for this, Fabiola?
The first prerequisite is to be a human and to be aligned with your purpose, right? Because we all come, I mean, you guys know, you are the experts on this in India, right? You come with yes, you do. I mean, you were the ones that the spiritual poles of the earth have been in India for so long, and now they're moving to the Andes, right? So it's like, we definitely have, this is the history of humanity. And we have that message within us. We just need to listen to it. And sometimes, 'cause life can be so tough and so challenging, because we live in this energy of lack. We don't have enough. We need more. We need to be like the other person. And in reality, we just need to be like ourselves, and sometimes, because the world has changed so much, we come into a place that it's very foreign to us. It's not very natural. So I came into a military family. I was supposed to be a shaman. How that has nothing to do with shamanism, right? My sister and my mother dabbled a little bit on shamanism. They went to go see shamans, but it was like very hush hush. It was something that wasn't necessarily accepted. And for me, it was like I was aligning with my father, because he was a provider of the family. He was the smart person in the family. So I was very much looking up to him. And I wanted to be a logical person. Well, I was very logical anyway. And I wanted to follow the scientific path, because that's the way I related to Pachamama, to Mother Earth. That was the only way I knew how that made sense in the environment that I was born. So I had to leave my environment. I moved to the United States. I just always knew, you always know that someday you're going to have to do something different. So I knew that I was going to leave the United States, came to America. And that's when I started realizing and breaking all those patterns, that I didn't need to be certain things because it wasn't working for me. And then I realized, hey, maybe there's something else for you, right? And that, going back to my land with different eyes, gave me that perspective and be able to connect in a deeper way with myself.
Right. And you talk about, the understanding the messages of Mother Earth. What does Mother Earth want to say?
Hmm.
What is it that we are not listening?
Oh, so many things. First of all, Mother Earth, Mother Earth, Mother, she's your mother. Imagine your mother wanted the best for you, okay? But she wants you, like, it's like she wants you to bake a cake, to feed yourself, to go to the kitchen and create with everything she can give you. But don't leave a mess behind, okay? She wants to provide for you, but don't if you're gonna use the kitchen, clean it up afterwards, right? So that's probably one of the biggest message that I got from her is clean up after yourselves. Don't destroy the earth because it's irresponsible, it's disrespectful. You wouldn't do that to your mother, right? I mean, if we do that, we get spanked. Well, I used to get spanked, so I don't know how you guys do it in India, but it's like you're gonna be scolded, you're gonna be in trouble. So the same way, we need to treat our mother with respect. We need to treat our planet with respect. We wouldn't go and just uh, give our mother trash or mistreat her or disrespect her. So if we treat her with honor and with respect, then she will give back to us because she is there to protect us and feed us and take care of us, but we need to give that in return. The first law, the first principle of the cosmovision from the Andes is reciprocity. Aini. It's called Aini. You give what you receive what you give. And that's how it works over there.
Right, right. So when you talk of healing, we of us, we are talking of our own healing. What about the healing of Mother Earth? So which should come first? Our own healing, and then or Mother Earth's healing, and that will lead to our healing. How does that work?
That is an amazing question. And I got to tell you, when you heal yourself, you heal the planet. If you heal yourself, you're helping Mother Earth because you are part of Mother Earth. And that's something that we really need to know. It's we sometimes we go out of our way to make people feel guilty of the way they're treating Mother Earth. But I think, and I know, that the first thing we need to do to save our planet, to protect our planet, is to take care of our emotions, because the planet really is like a mirror. The fires, the hurricanes, all the destruction that is happening in the planet is just a reflection of what's going on in our hearts. So the more we heal ourselves, the more we're going to heal our planet. And of course, we have to clean the rivers. Of course, we got to protect the forests. Of course, we got to protect the animals. But we need to start with ourselves because we are part of Mother Earth. We are also living beings and part of that planet.
Absolutely, absolutely, Fabiola. Now, in terms of spiritual essence, then how do we reconnect with our spiritual essence? When we talk of spirit, we rise above the ground. Will
Right.
connecting to Mother Earth help us rise to our spiritual essence? Are they the same thing, or should people or consider them different thing? And that is where the problem is, that people are looking at connecting with this outside in the universe, forgetting that Mother Earth is also part of that spinning thing. Suspended, as one of the top guys says about this blue dot suspended in a sunbeam. So we are like that. Perhaps we don't realize that.
Yeah, right. I mean, there are many things that we can talk. We're star beings. Some of us are star beings, right? But we are on this planet. So we need to act like earthlings. We are here. We're having a human experience. We are on this planet. So even though we have these memories and this knowledge from the stars and from all these different incarnations, right? We need to act as earthlings. And this is the life we're living now. So let's focus on this with the knowledge that we already came with, and try to do the right thing. Try to have a very purpose-driven life.
Right, right. You are a shamanic practitioner, so that is why I want to understand. Nowadays, a lot of people are talking about this akashic records, and all, as if their own records are there in the something like the Google Cloud or Apple Cloud or something like that. Is it that we are slightly focusing our energies to things which are for the later on? Right now, we need to focus on much more about Mother Earth. That is where our existence is. That is what our real footprints are. And Akashic records can come later on. Perhaps we are just losing the plot anywhere. What is your sense?
Well, my sense is that we are everlasting soul, right? We have many incarnations, and when we incarnate into a particular life in a particular planet, we have a lot of information. We have our akashic records. That's where we learn from. That's how we come here. That's why sometimes when we incarnate, like I'm a shaman, right? I have all these lives of healing or very different than other people, so I'm come to earth and I feel a little bit like out of place. But that's my history, right? So I, based on that, those akashic records, those experiences, those traumas or whatever is stored in those akashic records, I come with that information to live here and to live this human experience. So this is a very tough school. Being on earth is probably one of the toughest experiences that we're going to have as a soul. It's very, very challenging because the energy is so dense compared to other places. In other planets, we can just think it and it happens. Not here on Earth. It takes time. And it takes, we have to do it in a certain space, right? So it's very limited, very dense.
Right, right. And so let's talk about you being a shamanic practitioner. We don't use this word more in this part of the world. We use other words. So I want you to help us understand who is a shaman, what is this shamanic practice, and you talked about initiating people into this. How where people can take help of what you have achieved.
Right. So shaman is a word that is used mostly, I want to say, in the English world, right? It's when used in Peru is used chamanes, right? Also curanderos, there's different words. But shaman, really what it truly means, it's a person that is able to change energy into matter and matter into energy. If you see the equation of relativity, energy equals mass times the velocity of light to the square power, the shaman sits right on top of the equal sign. We are dancing in that sign, making the change. We're going to release the wounds of the past, the energetic imprints out of your luminous field, so you can release whatever is manifesting at the physical level. It could be in form of a sickness, or it can be just in form of an emotion that you're repeating, or I don't know, an ancestral curse, or so many things that can be manifesting in your life that you can't release. But shaman basically is a term that brings together all the different modalities of healing, that changes energy, like the ones you have in India, like the ones you have in Nepal. Sound healing is a form of shamanic energy, which I also dabble a little bit into too. Mm-hmm.
Right. And that brings me to the next thing about the heart of the Andes, journey to the heart of the Andes. These
Yes.
mountains and all, are the Andes different than other mountains? Do they speak another language than other mountains? How do you, or people can connect with their own mountains and understand? Tell us
I
a bit about the
Yeah.
Andes.
Okay. So the way I see it, okay, the mountains in general, all the mountains, Himalayas, which by the way are incredible, right? I've seen them. I flew over them. They're incredible. The mountains in general, they are like antennas for the universal love. Okay, so as the universal love comes to the earth, because we come from there, and we are supposed to be fed by that love, reminded by that love where we come from. It goes into the snow, and that snow melts and goes into the rivers. Okay, that is why it's so important to keep the rivers clean. Take home message. The water that we drink is supposed to have the vibration of love, but when we pollute it, then we are polluted. Okay, so the Himalayas, and I might be wrong, but my impression is that the Himalayas are more in the male energy, while the mountains in the Andes are more the female energy. Okay, I might be wrong. You might have a different interpretation. That's just my personal sense, and not only that, within the mountain ranges, there's different mountains, and some of them are more feminine, some of them are more masculine, meaning some of them are more passive, some of them are more father energy, right? And some of them are youthful, so they're alive. They're very much alive, like the mountains that you have in the Himalayas. They have their own personalities. So for instance, we say in the Andes that when a child is born, they have a grandfather or grandmother mountain, and that mountain is usually close to the place where they're born. I'm still trying to figure out which is my grandfather mountain, but I have a strong connection with Ausangate, which is in the area of Cusco. It's probably the tallest mountain there. and he calls me and he tells me things. But I also have a strong connection with the smaller mountains in Lima, which are more on the coast, and they kind of remind me of my childhood, and I feel very happy when I see them. So they're kind of like guides, and I prefer to work with all of them. Sometimes Moro Solar will come from the coast. Sometimes El Sangate will come. Sometimes Veronica will come. There's another mountain there. And also the cochas, the lakes, they have a vibration, a healing vibration. So I really think that they have their own personalities and they have their own messages as a family that they are.
Right. And that brings me to the documentary, Journey to the Heart of the Andes.
Mhm.
What is this documentary all about? And was it just some photo shoot, or is it a much more bigger message that you have in that documentary? Was it easy to shoot? Was it very difficult to shoot? Because it was not just a shoot, it was also the message.
It wasn't that difficult to shoot. It was difficult because we were at high altitude. And you know how that is, right? When you go into the mountains and you're at 15,000 feet, right? You're like catching your breath, and you're riding the motorcycle or the horse, and you're like, oh my God, I'm just not feeling well, and then you got to get off the horse and you got to keep walking. And well, that was a challenging part, and getting up really early in the morning, sometimes to receive the sun and the blessing of the sun and all that. But that was an incredible journey because I didn't know that was going to be a healing journey for me. And the story tells a little bit about my transition from science to spirituality, but then that's just the beginning. That's just a few minutes where we talk about, just to give it context, really. And then we go into the mountains, and then we start talking to the people that live there. We to a teacher. We talk to a ceramist, a person that makes pottery. We talk to a spiritual person there that has a hotel and teaches classes there. We talk to spiritual guides. We talk to shamans. We talk to a potato grower. And they all have something in common. This is the amazing part. They have this very strong connection to Pachamama, to Mother Earth, and they all say the same thing. Our life is protected and blessed by these beautiful mountains that are surrounding us. And when we get here, when we're here, when people go to the Andes, they feel that powerful energy. They just feel like, wow, like it feels like time just kind of stands still, and they feel like they're in a very unique place, and they take the time to start relaxing and healing. So it's a very, very fascinating place to visit. And my intention is to start taking people to Peru and visit the same places that we visit in the documentary. So that's like what I'm working with my shaman friends, to put an exceptional trip together and have that same experience, because you're gonna see my healing journey and the documentary, but it really is about you. It really is about you going into the mountains and healing yourself. And that's what I want to share.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
Absolutely. And in some part of the world, and even in India, sometimes people say that, gods and goddesses, they call you and you go. In the same way, mountains also, when they call you, you go. Does
That's right.
the Andes, is it that one Andes will call, then one will go, or is it that one can simply make a trip? How will that work? Is it, should we wait for the call of the Andes?
I think it depends on everybody's journey. There are many ways of healing. Like there are many medicines. Like people, right now they're dabbling a lot of plant medicine, and I always get that question. You haven't asked me that yet, but I say, it's like it's a path, it's a way, right? I think the Andes is their time. Is their time. It really is their time. It's a time where we need to reconnect with that feminine brain and not shut down the male brain. No shut. It's about, like, we're trying to shut down the masculine energy. It's not about that. It's about balance. So we have been so far to the left brain. We need to bring it in balance. So we need to welcome that feminine energy, which is abundant in the Andes.
Right. So how will you bring that? Because you talk about the return of the feminine energy into our society. Our society somehow has taken a different shape. In different places it's different, but somehow it is taking much more, where women are taking on much more different sort of role, which are, which were considered to be much more on the male domain. Nothing wrong about that. But somehow that seems to have become like a different sort of a movement, almost like a market. How would you suggest or have anything that one can, make sure that there is much more better balance like it was earlier on?
I'll give you an example. So let's say that you're a woman like I am, okay, and you work and you provide for your family. Then you go home and then you want to treat your children that they're your coworkers and they need to start, when in reality, what you need to do when you get home is switch it, right? We need to switch to the energy of love and tenderness and loving and accepting your children for what they are. Instead of you're going to be this and you're going to be that and you're going to, study this. We need to honor what they are. And instead of trying to change people into our perspective, respect their perspective. Another way that we can bring that balance into our lives is by understanding that sometimes there are times to produce and there are times to rest. We live in a society that wants us to produce all the time, and we need to learn to rest. There are moments like right now, it's winter time and it's been stormy all day. This is a very low, very slow time of the year for us here in America. So there are times where things are going to slow down, and we need to respect that cycle of life. And there are times where spring comes, right, and everything starts producing again. And you guys know so much more about this, about how the stars and how everything influences that flow of nature. It's like a river. Sometimes it runs and sometimes it doesn't. So we need to bring that balance and understand and feel that, so is this the time for me to push this forward or not? So that's very important, and that is not common in Western society.
Absolutely. The nature teaches that many a times you see we have longer days, longer nights, depending on and according, but we sometimes forget to change that rhythm in our own lives in the whole
Right.
hunt for whatever we want. Now, I want to understand, one of my last questions to you, Fabiola, is to understand about our ancestors.
Oh yeah.
Our ancestors left us a lot of good messages. What message would we want to leave to our, inheritors of the earth? Because do you think we have left anything to, in terms of a message, or we were the last ones who had a message from our ancestors and we have nothing left for them? All we can give them more responsibility, save the planet, whereas we are not doing enough of it.
To our descendants, you mean?
Yes.
Well, I think that we're definitely going to leave our energy, right? Like I come from a long line of women that were passive aggressive, right? So, or they would get their way there, the way they knew how, right? And I'm like, no, I want to be honest. I wanted to change that. So I needed to go back and heal my ancestors so I could be healed as well. So my children wouldn't have to play those games, right? So I think that the past informs our present, and the present will inform the future. But at the same time, we're all in the same spiral, right? So we all, as we heal our ancestors, we heal our children, our future children. And I feel also that we need to listen to our ancestors because they've been here and done this. So they up there, they have a better perspective of what we need to do to heal ourselves and what we're doing wrong. So being in tune with your ancestors is very important to guide you, because some of them become your spiritual guides and they'll tell you, hey, you're really sure you're going to do this or you want to do this. And I hear it and I can feel the women in my lineage saying, great job, you're doing good, keep pushing, or be nicer to your husband, or I'm saying things like that, because I'm not perfect. So I definitely feel their guidance, and at the same time I feel their pain. So I work very closely with them.
Absolutely. There's so much to learn from you, Fabiola.
Oh,
And I'm
thank you.
sure about a lot of people would want to learn more from you, about the mountains, make a trip to the Andes. What's the best way for them to connect with you?
You can connect with me through my website, fabiolabaughman.com. And the documentary Journey to the Heart of the Andes is available on kinema.com. Kinema with a K.
Wonderful. With this, it's a wrap on this very special edition of the KAJ Masterclass Live. Thank you so much indeed for joining us.
Thank you so much.